What are some tips for someone with no fighting experience to win in a fight? Never use haymakers, hooks, and football kicks. They're fucking stupid and will get you beat real fast. The trick is straight punches using your hip to throw your arm a bit more. Try to get in close so the aforementioned kicks and haymakers won't be able to get enough power in. Keep your hands up. If you have to dodge, go sideways instead of back, so you keep the distance advantage, but either way, don't get in a fight in the first place. This is the advice you want to listen to right here. Don't try to emulate Mike Tyson and end the fight with one haymaker. You'll fail. Keep it simple. A straight jab to the nose will make your opponent's eyes tear up and can tip the scales in your favor. Not to mention, a good few jabs, even if they don't connect, can close the distance and make your opponent start frantically moving backwards. Footwork is important. Stand so that a punch won't knock you over. Don't lean into a punch. Also know what advantage you have over your opponent. If he's bigger than you, try to move to the side or behind him. Moving's harder for him, so make him move. If he's taller, get in close so his reach advantage is taken away. If he's lactose intolerant, throw milk at him. If you aren't in a sanctioned sports competition, there is no such thing as dirty. Most people exhaust quickly in a fight, and you don't want to run the risk that your opponent can last longer than you. Fight quick, fight dirty, and try to finish in 5 to 10 seconds, since you honestly have 30 max. Conversely, for people who are in good shape maybe, take your time. Your opponent probably smokes and drinks all day. Throw a straight kick to the midsection and circle away from his power hand until he tires out. Personally, I have a lot of grappling experience, so I am going to take the guy down, but grappling takes a lot of training time, and I wouldn't suggest trying it if you don't have a clue what you are doing. If there's no way to avoid it, try to keep a low center of balance and make sure to keep your feet on the ground. Don't kick or anything. Once you lose your balance and you're on the ground, it's over. Edit. Yes, apparently everyone and their brother has jujitsu training. The question literally says for people with no fighting skills. If you do go down, bring them with you. But generally, try to keep your balance. It isn't over when you're on the ground. It's over when only you are on the ground. If you can close and take the whole fight to the ground and bend a thumb, finger, arm, or knee, some way things don't normally bend, you win. Remember, there are no rules in a fight. The only fair fight is a fight you lose. Yep, if you are getting jumped, there are no rules. Go for the balls. Your safety is more important than any stupid rules. I had a friend in high school that thought he could win any fight if he went for the balls. Well, he got in a fight and went for the balls. Except the other dude was jacked on adrenaline and beat the shit out of him anyways. This right here. We were sparring during a belt test, and I snap kicked this guy to create some distance between us. He dodged sideways, and I kicked him about as square off in the nuts as you can. Hard. He backed off, breathed in, popped himself in the forehead with his gloves and said, "Good shot, dude," and came back at me. Didn't faze him. Practice spitting in your free time. A sharp projectile of spit in the opponent's eyes compromises his vision. Spitting in his mouth will also invoke his gat reflex, which distracts him and makes him more vulnerable. I think the biggest problem for people with no experience is that they have no experience with inflicting harm, and thus instinctively only hit symbolically. I once had to disassemble an old cupboard, and I kept kicking at it, and it wouldn't go down. When I realized my kicks were afraid of doing damage or hurting myself, and I have to commit and go all in and try to kick through the boards, that's when I immediately got the thing collapsing. And here we are, folks. You don't try to punch a man in the fact, you try to punch his face through the back of his head. Make the back of his skull your imaginary target. You hit him in the face, his head will snap a little and he might stagger. You punch through his face, that son of a bitch is going down. Though before you pick up a beer bottle or other improvised weapon, remember there might be some rules that come into play in the aftermath of a fight, e.g. manslaughter. Edit. TL.TDR. Since I'm getting a lot of responses in this direction, you lose the right to self-defense if you're the one that escalates from non-lethal force to lethal with a weapon. The person you escalated against has it for as long as lethal force is in play. Edit 2. This includes a right to defend against reasonable fear of lethal force. Protect your head, fight dirty. Protect your head. At the first chance to disengage, take it. Protect your f***ing head. Get the first punch in, and keep pushing your fist after it makes contact. Protect your motherfucking head. Tuck your chin. Distract, Sucker punch. Are you really going to try and fight me with a cop car right there? Protect your goddamned head, idiot. Hands way up. Just to add on, if you have no fight training, the best stance to block against punches is hands on top of your forehead near your temples, so you don't block your eyesight, elbows out. Punch coming from the side, throw that elbow out. They may connect with it and break their hand, or at the least deflect the brunt of the attack away from your ear, jaw. Punch coming from straight ahead, close up those arms. Again, the punch could connect with your elbow, or, at the very least, protect your nose, check eyes. Obviously, this will only work for a few attacks before they start going for other body parts or kicking. But the point is to defend yourself long enough to get out of the situation. If you have to fight back, this is also a really good stance for landing straight jabs. Go for the sensitive chasura soft spots: eyes, ears, nose, throat, solar plex, groin, armpits, and frontal part of the elbow. Oh, and don't assume you know how to throw a punch. You'll get boxer's fractures. Edit. These are just sensitive points on the body, and not necessarily points where you should strike an opponent. Armpits are sensitive because they contain nerves, blood vessels, and lymph nodes. Try pinching that area or gouging your thumb or a pointy object into it. The cubital fossa, frontal part of the elbow, is also sensitive and has thin skin. Eyes are great for gouging as well. Don't assume fights are won solely by striking or grappling your opponent. Also, some of these are only something you should do when you're trying to protect your life. Don't attack someone's throat in a normal scuffle. I've seen tough guys shatter wrists and fingers because they thought they were hot shit and punched a bag poorly. Go with slaps. If you don't know how to throw a punch, they hurt just as much and won't hurt you as badly. Run! Being in a fight is extremely dumb and risky. It should be avoided at all costs, even if you are trained. Edit or de-escalate. Again, fighting is dumb, and I say that as a guy who has been boxing for 7 years at this point. Edit 2. Let's be more specific. You should never be trying to win a fight outside an organized sport competition. You should be trying to avoid it, and if inevitable, to disengage from it and get to safety. Voluntarily going into a fight with the intent to win is dumb and reckless. It is extremely easy to sustain or cause a lingering injury or death in combat. The kind of guy who seek fights with stranger tend to be armed or have a bunch of friend ready to curb stomp you. If you want to protect yourself, there is no quick tip. Go get actual training. I guarantee you they will repeat this very advice too. I will tell you the best way. Always throw the first punch. As soon as they get within arm's reach of you, throw that first one at their throat. They will collapse, and you can kick the living shit out of him. If he has a hoodie, pull his hood over his face after the throat punch and hammer that SOB. Do not stop throwing punches even if he says, "Stop, I'm done, please stop." Beat that bitch till he regrets making you ask for this advice on Reddit. Little late to the party, but figured I'll chime in. I'm a black belt in BJJ, have several years of judo and Muay Thai experience as well. I've taught many self-defense classes and women's self-defense seminars. The best advice I can give you is this: run. If you can't run, you have to accept you will get hit and likely injured. Keep as much distance as you can with the intent to separate from your opponent and run. If they get their hands on you, attack as quickly and as violently as you can until you can, you guessed it, run. There is no winning a street fight. Only who comes out less injured. Barring extreme self-defense situations, it's simply not worth it. If they don't have a weapon, stand your ground and keep one eye on their hands. Odds are good they ain't 'bout nothing. If they throw hands, be fast. Dodge and slap down their hands. If you can't, you're probably fucked already anyway. If you can, they'll get angry, so you're anxious and make a mistake. And since they aren't trained either as made obvious by their shitty hands, your own force of will may prevail. One more thing. Try and take their punch. Untrained fighters ain't got no hands. You're tougher than you think, and if you can take their punch without flinching, they get scared quick. If they have a knife run, you ain't ready. If they have a gun, think happy thoughts while you die. If you out of college and still getting into physical alterations, it is time to reevaluate where you're hanging out and who you are hanging out with. Time to grow up. Thank you for watching. Write comments, put likes. Do not forget to watch other videos.